All right. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to today's training. My name is Hayward. I'm the founder of Coach Hayward. And today we're going to be talking about how to lose the stubborn muffin top. So how do we lose the stubborn belly fat? So this is for anybody who, if you're going through menopause right now, if you're finding that your body fat has shifted, it's storing in your stomach, it's being very stubborn, or if you just have weight there that's just not seeming to come off, this is going to be for you. So we're going to dive right into this training today, guys. Now, as always, if you find that this helps you out in any way, make sure you subscribe down below as well. It's super helpful. And that's it. Let's dive in. So we got 5 main steps we're going to go through here today. I got a few examples I want to show you guys as well. If there's any guys watching this as well, I got a male here and a female, and we're going to talk about their cases, how we did it, and we're going to talk about yours and how we can help you lose this weight once and for all. So as you can see here in the corner, these two clients, so one of them dropped about 30 to 40 pounds, this girl did here, and this guy here, he dropped around 25 or so pounds as well. As you can see for this guy here, most of his weight was stubborn in the stomach area, and it's exactly where it melted off as well. Same thing for this gal as well. Most of it was in her stomach area, and it's exactly where it melted off as well too. Now, the craziest thing about this is that both these clients never did anything crazy to lose this weight here. They all made these changes and within about maximum 5 months, I believe, and they didn't do any drastic changes whatsoever. Okay, I think they both worked out about 3 times a week for I would say 30 to 40 minutes a session. So as you can see, nothing too crazy. So how do we do it here? How do we lose the stubborn belly fat? How do we finally get this off? Well, it's a little bit of a combination of everything because, hormones can definitely play a role. If we have too much stress, that can cause our weight to our body to store our fat. And that can also, that's connected to belly fat. So there's hormones that play a role. There's also our food, which is majority of it. There's the routine, consistency. There's the working out, everything. We're going to dive into all of it here today. Okay. So let's start out with number 1 here, y'all, which is the plan. So this is one of the biggest mistakes I see people have here is that they don't have a plan. They don't have a plan set up. They have certain goals. They want to build a certain image and they want to build a certain body, but they don't have a plan designed around it. They don't have a consistent workout schedule or a consistent meal plan to follow. And therefore, it's a guessing game. This is a very frustrating cycle to be in because let's say if you're eating very healthy, right? You're eating very healthy all through the week. You're working out. You're doing everything right. You feel like you're doing everything right. But then you check the scale on Sunday and it's just not moving. Why could that be? Could be so many reasons, but most of the time, guys, it all comes down to the number side of things, which means our calories and our macros. For example, a lot of ladies who go through menopause are dealing with this, and it's very, very, it's frustrating. Is what happens because your metabolism is already going to be much lower after going through menopause and everything. So your caloric deficit, you have to be very careful because you're already burning not as many calories, right? So let's say you do great all week, you're in a good caloric deficit, and you're planning to lose about 1 pound that week or maybe half a pound. But then let's say on the weekend, maybe you give into some sweets or you give into some cheat meals and you don't account for it. You don't align it with your weekday calories. So let's say that goes a little bit overboard. One day. That one day could sabotage your entire results because that could be enough calories to put you back into maintenance mode, given that you do have a slower metabolism after going through menopause. So this is why it's so important that we have a plan, we have structure in place. Now, easiest way to go about it is for food, I would say, and remember, you don't need to do this forever, but it is important to do it short term. It's very rare that we can make some good changes through mindful eating. Like mindful eating, you can do better changes when it comes to overall health, feeling better, more energy, stuff like that. But if you want to lose weight, especially if you're going through menopause, it's important to have a plan. If you're in your 20s and 30s, you can probably get away with it without having a plan and just making very smart choices. But it's much easier just not play the guessing game and just have something structured and tailored for yourself. So have a plan. That's number 1 is we got to have a plan. When are we going to work out? What time? How long is the workout? What does the workout actually look like? Same thing, the working out side of things, or the food side of things too. How many times a day will you eat? What's that going to look like? What's the structure? Because that way too, if you think about it, if you have a plan, it's going to be so much easier to fix your problems. Because let's say, you have a problem of snacking in the nighttime, right? Well, then we can look at the plan and be like, okay, well, maybe we got to change up the eating times. Maybe we got to put a certain amount of foods at this time to help you keep full and kill those cravings. Maybe if you're only eating 1 or 2 times a day, and then next thing you know, you get home after work, you're super hungry, you binge, whatever it may be. So very important to have a plan here, guys. So again, have the food on track, either meal prep, count the calories, build your own meal planning, whatever it may be. Some sort of structured plan is going to be key. Number two here is what to know. So this is what you want to know when it comes to losing belly fat, okay? So essentially, we can't target our belly fat, right? We cannot target where we lose weight. But what we can do and what we can know is that when you lose weight, usually your belly fat area, like let's say, you have that little pudge on the bottom there that's just hanging out of your jeans that you just don't like, right? Odds are that's going to be the last 10 to 15 pounds that you're going to lose on your weight loss journey. So let's say, if someone has 30 pounds to lose, right? They're not going to lose the belly fat right at the start. They're going to have to lose about 20 pounds of body fat first, and it's going to melt off different areas in their body, and then they'll lose the last little bit. So this client here, my amazing client, Ashley from the past, that was for her. She dropped about, I think she dropped about 30 to 40 pounds with me. And her last about 10 or so pounds is really when she started to notice like her abs starting to showing and that really like that flat toned tummy area. So she had dropped around 20, 25 pounds before, just where it's stored on other areas of her body, before it actually started attacking her belly fat, because our belly fat's like our active fat. It's the hardest fat to lose. So essentially that's going to come off last most of the time. For women, definitely if you're going through menopause, it's the belly fat area that's going to come off last. But just for most people too, it's typically going to come off the belly area, because that's where we like to store our fat to protect our organs, for ladies, for getting ready for giving birth, things like that, right? So that's what you should know though, and that's what you should expect. So let's say, if you just have that little pudgy little bit, and you want to lose you think you should lose around 10, 15 pounds, then yeah, that's mostly just going to come off the belly area, and then everything else will just get more toned, defined looking. But if you got 30, 40, 50 plus pounds to lose, we first need to lose the weight, and then we can get the belly fat like gone. And it's just naturally going to happen. It's not like you have to change really many things up as you go. It's just that's naturally where it's going to come off of. So let's say, you lose 10 pounds in your weight loss journey, right? Don't discredit that 10 pounds if you're not noticing on your stomach. Like, focus on the wins, keep stacking those wins, because it's going to happen. Just know that it just takes a little bit of time, because that's the last stubborn bit where it's going to come off, right? So if you gain weight, it's going to come off all these other areas, and then it will come off there after. I promise you that. Okay. So that's one thing that you should know when it comes to this. Now, when it comes to exercising, did you know that there's actually certain areas that you don't really want to train if you do want more of that like smaller waistline, that more trim tone tummy area? So essentially the reason why is because, let's say, if your food's not on track and maybe you're in a slight caloric surplus, which means you're gaining weight, right? If you're working out and you're working your sides, like the side of your core, you can actually build muscle there, and it's going to get thicker and wider. So therefore, it's not going to give you that more of a, like a lot of people go for that waistline. They want to bring their tummy in, lose some inches around their stomach and their waist, right? So if you're training the stomach area though, and you're in a caloric surplus, so if your food's not on track, that can actually make like you gain muscle there and make it a little more thicker. So ladies, if you want that more of like that waistline or that hourglass shape and whatnot, it's important that we be careful when it comes to training, because we don't want to work certain parts that aren't going to serve us in our goals. Now, if you're in a deficit, a caloric deficit, and losing weight, you don't have to stress about that too much, because you're not necessarily going to put on weight or muscle or anything like that. You're just going to get more toned, lean, defined, because for you ladies, your testosterone levels are much lower than men. So you're not necessarily going to pack on muscle mass as you're dropping weight if you're in a deficit. It just doesn't work that way. You got to do one or the other. So that's what you want to know there when it comes to exercise side of things. Now, remember though, we cannot target our body fat, right? So it's not like you want to be training abs every single day. Your main focus should be, how many calories can I burn the quickest way possible? Therefore, you want to do full body workouts. So if you're working out 3 times a week, full body workouts. If you're doing 4 times a week, do a split. Legs, upper, legs, upper. And then if you're doing 5 times, then you can really split it up. But you want to focus on at least 3 times a week working out and do full body, and focus on compound lifts. Compound lifts are like barbell bench press, barbell squat, deadlifts, things that are going to work your whole body. So that way you can burn a tremendous amount of calories compared to just working, just doing sit-ups and just burning those calories and like just working the core. work multiple muscle groups. That'll burn the most amount of calories. And also when you do compound lifts like squats, you're naturally working your core because it needs to be engaged and flexed. So it's going to be very good. Now, I would recommend though, if you want to add in core and you want to also work the muscles in your core, work about 2 times a week. 2 times a week is really all you need because there's such a small muscle group that you don't need to train them, 3, 4, 5 times a week. You don't need to. So 2 times a week is perfect, and that's good. Now, the exercise part of things is basically shaping the muscles underneath, right? So you got like here's your muscles. So you're shaping, you're building your muscles underneath, and then you got the body fat here. And then this is you looking at it. So this body fat is in the way of your muscles, right? So essentially, we got to drop the body fat, we got to melt the body fat off, and then that's going to show the work that you've been putting in when it comes to your exercise. Okay, so right now, though, focus on burning the most amount of calories, and that's through strength training, at least 3 times a week, and you want to focus on full body movements if you're doing 3 times a week. Compound lifts, that's perfect. And most of you would want to do that. Yes, get your cardio in for overall inner health. Let's say 20% of your workout should be cardio, unless you're getting like 10K steps a day already. Maybe make it like, let's say 10% of your workout or so, like a little less, because it just won't be needed. So that's the tip there. Now that's going to also help you with boosting your metabolism as well, which overall just helps speed up the results. Now, number 4 here, guys, we're on a roll. So number 4, expectations that you want to have. I mean, it's basically like number 2 here. Remember, it's first you got to knock off the other body fat, and then your core will happen. Now, as you're on your weight loss journey, you're probably going to hit a plateau around the area when you have the last 10 pounds to lose. So you will need to adjust your calories accordingly. The next things that you can do here is to make sure you're eating on enough protein, so high protein. Try to cut back. I find it's interesting because everyone's body reacts differently to either higher carbs, lower fat, or higher fat, lower carbs. So that's something you can play around with. But I have noticed some good results by cutting the carbs out a little bit, but not too far, because you want it to be sustainable too, right? Always keep in mind, is this going to be sustainable? That's very, very important, because it's not like you want to work super hard, get abs, and then lose them, right? So we need to do it in a sustainable way. So have the proper expectations, not trying to get there overnight, just trying to get the right actions, the right habits, everything on track. And remember too, that, little things can easily mess things up. Like let's say the hidden calories, for example. Let's say you're counting calories, but then you don't take account for that handful of almonds, the little chocolate bar you had, or the coffee you got at Starbucks, like not taking account for those things. Those things there would have enough calories to sabotage your entire results. So therefore, it's important that we take account for the little things, keep those on track to make sure we're aligned with our goals. Now, again, you can calorie count, meal prep, whatever works best for you, go about that there. So that's what you can expect there when it comes to your expectations. Now, another thing too is as you're losing this weight, especially the belly fat, you're going to expect a little bit of hunger is going to go on. It's just natural. A little bit of hunger will happen. Another expectation to have here is that having abs, especially for women, is not necessarily like healthy. Like, even for guys, the perfect like health for a man is like you might be able to see a little bit of their abs depending on their genetics. But for women, you usually don't like a very healthy woman isn't meaning like having abs and no body fat. You need body fat on your body. I think around like 20 to 22% body fat for a woman to have is very good. That will also have that toned, lean tummy when you hit that body fat percentage. So that's what you can expect. Now, another thing too, some ladies have like a natural little hump, like a little bump where like their bone is like on the lower stomach area. So even if you lose all your belly fat, you might have that little bump there. Girls, don't even worry about it. It's nothing to worry about. Like I promise you, like you don't have to worry about it or nothing like that. Sometimes it's just natural. That's just the way it is. So that's another expectation to have there. Now, one more thing too is that sometimes genetics do play a role. So I've been quite blessed, like for all of you who've seen my pictures and stuff, like I've always kind of had abs, but I've also was really skinny when I started working out. So I had very low body fat, and I was extremely, extremely active, sports, working, moving my body all the time. So those are all factors, and I barely ate too. Growing up, I'm the type of person who has a smaller stomach, so like I can't eat as much, so I got to kind of force feed if I want to grow. So that's just like, so genetics do play a role though, just to let you know. Now, some bonus stuff here. So bonus stuff that you should know. Stress will play a role in this game. So stress does play a role. if you're stressed out all the time, you have high cortisol consistently, that's going to mess things up. That's going to cause your body to actually store fat. The next things here is you want to make sure you watch your insulin, watch the sugars, especially because if you eat a lot of sugar, especially around nighttime, that's going to influence your body to hold that stubborn belly fat there too. Let me see here. There's other things. Sometimes there's health conditions that are causing you to have like a pot belly kind of look there and a pudgy belly. Now, other things that you should know is that most of our health issues, diseases, they all stem from belly fat. So it's very important we lose it. If the belly fat that you have is very hard, that's super dangerous. You want to make sure you take this very seriously because that's where a lot of health issues are going to come from, especially if it's hard, because that means it's visceral fat, which is the fat that sticks into your organs. It sticks around your organs, which is not good. Okay, so we have two types of fat. We have the visceral fat, which is like in our organs, and the subcutaneous, which is like under our skin there, that hides like the veins, hides the abs, stuff like that there. Okay. So that's essentially how it's going to work though, guys, is at first, when it comes to your weight loss journey, if you have 20 plus pounds to lose, focus on just losing that first 10 or so pounds, getting down to like your last 10, 15 pounds that you want to lose. Then it's going to be more about body recomposition, where you're not going to care much about the scale. It's going to be more so about dropping body fat specifically, preserving your muscle mass and shaping your body the way you want it. So that's kind of how it's going to look there. Other than that, other things you should know is menopause. Naturally, just when you go through menopause, your body fat is going to shift and it's going to store in your stomach area. Don't stress it, because wherever it stores basically is where it comes off, right? So it's still totally doable. I've had many girls come in here going through menopause who built flat toned tummies, okay? If you have 100 pounds plus to lose and you're scared about excess skin, make sure you're consuming lots of protein and working out consistently, and don't lose the weight too quickly. I've had a client who they're in their 50s now and they lost 120 pounds with me. They barely have any excess skin, okay? They did an extremely good job and they have a 6-pack now. It all comes down to they're very consistent with their routine. They stick to their food planning. They're in their proper caloric deficit. They consistently train 3 times a week at least. And they're very consistent and they build discipline. Discipline is going to be your best friend here on this journey. You know, one thing we got to understand is that if you want a 6-pack, like this guy right here, you can see his 6-pack coming in, or this girl here, she's got her 6-pack coming in. She's very flat toned tummy. Just know it's a different way. It's a different lifestyle. It doesn't have to be crazy, because once you get into the rhythm, once you get into the routine, it's just natural, right? It just becomes a habit. So it's not crazy. But at first, it's hard. You know, one thing we got to understand is that it's not like a walk in the park to build a 6-pack. You know, I think more people are rich, millionaires in America than have 6-pack. So it is a different level. But again, it's not crazy hard or anything. We just need to build that discipline, have the right plan, have the right guidance, or like the right things set up for us, and we can do it. So doesn't matter your age, doesn't matter nothing like that, guys. Don't put limitations on yourself. If you want it, you can have it. We just have the right expectations in place, the reality behind it, and just put in the work, and you will get there. And I promise you, it's the best feeling ever when you hit your goals too. Like, every single piece of it is worth it on this journey. So whatever you do, remember why you started in the first place. If you're ever struggling with motivation, consistency, anything like that. Now, lastly, if you don't want to do this and you want just some help to put it all together, like you want someone to literally build your food out to align with your goals, guide you to this weight loss, set up your training, help you build this a lifestyle, that's what I do with my one-to-one person, my one-to-one clients. If you want that help, you can apply below in the description. There's a link there. You can fill out an application form. If you're accepted, I'll do up a game plan for you and send it back. And then it's up to you if you want to join, if you're a good fit. So that's the trade for today, though, y'all. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this helped you out. Remember, no magical pills, nothing crazy like that. You know, it will be stubborn, but I promise you it will happen. It's that last 5 to 10, maybe 15 pounds that you want to lose. That's the last little bit there. You got it, though. Keep moving forward. If you hit a plateau for over 2 to 3 weeks, ladies, give yourself about 2 weeks before you adjust things because your hormones. But if you do hit a plateau, try to cut out about 100 to 200 calories out, and that can help you keep losing. And then another thing too is watch your sodium intake and watch foods that cause bloating, because if you want that flat toned tummy, bloating can easily ruin the results. So make sure you watch your sodium intake, because that causes water retention. And then watch other foods that cause gassiness and bloating and stuff like that. All right, that's the training for today, all. I hope this really helped you. I really do. And if you have any other questions, or if you want to watch anything else from me, just let me know. I'm always here to support you. Make sure you're subscribed, and I'll see you guys in the next training.